All right, guys. Benjamin Rodriguez here on the Inside the Locker Room podcast. Here we have Coach Gill. Coach, thank you for joining me. How are you doing today, man?
I'm doing well, man. Thank you, for having me. Thank you for reaching out, and getting this thing done. So, shouts out to you for this.
Of course, man. And thank you for joining us. And Coach, I want to start first. What has your experience been as a coach and even as a player? I'm sure you've over the years, building programs and just getting to work and putting time and effort into these kids. What has that been like for you? And if you want to just explain some of your experience.
It's been amazing, honestly, just, to be able to like go to programs that weren't starting off very hot, that weren't like places that some of these kids wanted to go. And,
Mm,
just building that camaraderie with those individuals and their parents and things like that,
mm,
and moving the needle forward. It takes a lot to rebuild a program. It's not as easy as people think. It's
mm,
not like, you just plugging into like a video game and you can just sim through. Like, no, like
yeah.
every day is pressure. So, you kind of got to get your kids to understand that, the coaches to understand that. So,
Mm.
those aspects have always been fun.
Yeah, and just even just another aspect of coaching, just the fact of it, that coaching is just a gift. Not everybody can do it, and I give major props to you, and major props to the seasons you've had so far as a coach, because it does take a lot of courage and just know how to run a program and inspire just a whole team of players, and especially the youth. Youth football is a huge thing, but if you want to get into Camden Catholic a little bit, you sent me that Lenape game, that ending to that game. It was a long game too. You guys have been a part of many long games. I saw the 3 hours, even 3.5 hours. I mean, it was crazy, man. Just walk me through that. Let's start, I guess, a little bit earlier in the game. It was 7-7 at one point, back and forth for most of the part. But what was your mindset, I guess, going into this game? Let's start out with that.
So going into the game, we picked them up. Actually weren't on our schedule.
Mm,
We were in need of a game towards the tail end of the year.
yeah,
And Lenape is traditionally and historically has always been, one of those teams around the area. Real big with size. They did have a new head coach that year, so
mm,
I thought it was a good opportunity for our guys to get like a tune-up game going into the playoffs.
mm,
Right when it was 7-7, our main thing was to get into the locker room tied. We had a lot of turnovers early, a lot of misconversions on fourth down, fumbled the
mm,
ball in some key spots. We're sloppy with the ball. And then when we gave up that big play at the end to end the quarter,
mm,
normal teams like that, uh, they'll tuck their tail between their legs. Like that's it.
yeah,
You give up a big play going into halftime.
mm,
Other team has the momentum going. But that's the great thing about halftime, though. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like you can go into the locker room, and the other team could have momentum, but you got to sit around for a little bit. So it's
mm,
easy for the team that didn't have the momentum to figure out a way to get that momentum back. Um,
mm,
so that was my
yeah,
main focus. Getting my guys refocused and letting them understand, like, hey, we're going to the playoffs soon. So it's like if
yeah,
we can't handle situations like this, if we can't battle adversity,
mm,
then we don't belong where we're at. It's time to show people that we're a serious team. It's
mm,
time to show people that we can compete with teams that are more physical, stronger. Have the depth that we lack.
yeah.
So that's what our kids were able to kind of pull through to do in that second half.
Yeah, and it was great seeing that, I guess, kind of transition, and you could see the literal change and I guess the game plan and how they came out in the second half, because after that it was basically lights out from the defense, and we can get into a little bit that later because that's what ultimately decided the game at the end. But if you want to get into some players from this game that kind of stood out to you in terms of like making that halftime adjustment, like what did you tell anything specifically to anybody specifically that was maybe that you maybe saw that was maybe feeling a little bit down at halftime or
I told our team going into halftime, like we got this. Like
yeah,
breathe, relax, kind of like throw this whole
mm,
thing away.
mm,
It's easy for kids, especially high school age kids, to kind of lose sight of what's going on. You know what I mean? They
yeah,
could easily get flustered and frustrated and
mm,
just want to, boom, flush the whole thing away. But we had the
mm,
opportunity to go into halftime and kind of let those guys know, like, hey, listen, you know, We have opportunity to battle back. We didn't play our best half of football. Let's be real. We didn't play our best half of
Mm.
football. I
Yeah.
don't care. The best thing about this is we going out there and the scoreboard is going to be 0-0. So it's how bad do you want it at this point?
Yeah.
Like how bad
Exactly.
do you want to defend, being undefeated at home?
Mm.
So, that's what the challenge was to those guys is how bad do you want to be undefeated at home? So my senior quarterback Mike Morris, senior DN tight end Sean Weldy,
Mm.
Namir Daly, Joshua Collier. It was literally Bryce Clark. I can go down
Mm.
the line and
Yeah.
name a whole bunch of kids that literally, Sean O'Reilly, like all those Joel Hamagash, everyone kind of pitched in at that point and
Yeah.
just was like, enough is enough.
Mm.
Enough is enough. Let's go out here and make these stops. Let's go out here and make big plays, and that's what they did. They went out there, they made stops. We had one blunder where a kid misheard a call. That's when the kid scored the
Mm.
touchdown and things like that.
Yeah.
But ultimately, those guys just put the team on their back on both sides of the ball and just willed it through.
And for sure. And if you want to get into, I guess, the ending of this game to kind of wrap up this Lenape kind of recap, I guess, Pierce drops back and he just gets stuffed. What was your reaction? And what did you say to the guys after the game after they made that huge stop and then they don't, I believe they tried to do an onside kick at the end and fails. You
Yeah.
guys secure the
So it was
victory.
crazy. What was crazy about that is it wasn't even supposed to be an onside kick. It
Mm-hmm.
was supposed to be a squib kick.
Mm.
It was supposed to just be a squib kick because we didn't want to kick the ball deep to the kid, to that guy,
Yeah.
because whoever was returning took the ball, took, second play of the game, took it to the
Yeah.
crib. So I was like, I don't
Mm.
want that ball in that kid's hand.
Yeah. And that was on a
Just
punt
squib
return,
it.
right?
Yeah, no, he took it.
Or was it a
It was
kickoff?
offense. No, it was on offense.
Oh,
They
okay.
were
Never
on
mind.
offense. So I was just like, I don't want the ball in that kid's hand.
Yeah.
Just squib it.
Mm.
And our kicker made a blunder, kicked the onside kick instead of squibbing it.
Yeah.
But what was going through my head is like I just told those guys, like, you see, like you guys can battle through anything.
Yeah.
Um, I hate you for putting me in this spot, but you guys can battle through anything. So we got to take this same intensity that we had in this game, that
Mhm.
same fight and the same will, into the playoff game in a couple weeks.
Yeah, and I mean that's exactly what good coaches do. They rile up not rile up per se, but they, inspire, the team at halftime, even when they're down, even when you're at the lowest of the low, there's still that light at the end of the tunnel. The game's not over till the fat lady sings. So I applaud you for that. And if you want to get into this next topic here of what you're looking for in your next home, coaching wise, what do you offer to the next team that, offers you a coaching position, or what are you interested in doing moving forward?
So I kind of do have something on the table right now, but
Hmm.
I'm not really gonna talk about it now until like things are like formalized. But
Yeah.
what I'm looking for in my next program, is just somewhere where it's camaraderie, somewhere where it's a bond. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like it's a football family through and through.
Yeah.
Like that's how I kind of operate. Like me, I would give you the shirt off my back.
Mm.
I would give my shirt off. I would give my shirt to my players, their family, whoever may need it. You know what I mean? Whoever
Yeah.
needs my help in a sense, like I'm always there to help young individuals and their family. So, I'm looking, for my next spot for it to be like that, to feel like family, because if
Mm.
I'm going to spend all this time away, from my kid, my wife, my family, that
Mm.
it has to feel like family. You know what I mean? It
Yeah,
has to feel like something. It has to feel like something that I enjoy doing. It has to feel like family. So
definitely.
my family would be okay with that as well.
Yeah, no, and family is just a huge aspect of life in general. And you mentioned just the camaraderie. Karina mentions that you coach some of her kids as well. Like, just a coach could be anybody. It's bigger than sports. It's bigger than football. So clearly, you're showing me, and it sounds that like, you know, as a coach of Camden Catholic and all the other coaching experiences that you've had, you've really poured into the youth, and it like you said with the family and the parents. It's a huge aspect of coaching because these parents themselves, they're investing their time. It's all of a collective group and just a team sport. So I
Right.
applaud you for that.
Thank
Um,
you. I
yeah,
mean,
no,
because
no
the
problem.
main thing about being a coach is you got to be that coach that you always needed as a kid. I think a
Exactly.
lot of coaches where they fail is they emulate somebody that they thought was successful instead
Hmm.
of just being a person that they always needed as a coach. You know what I mean? Like, and I
Yeah.
think I think that helps the most. Like,
Mm,
everyone knows what they needed. You know what I mean? In high school or college, they know what type of coach they need. Just be that for these
mm.
kids and
Yeah,
just be organically yourself. Like once you can figure out a way to do those two, you can be successful no matter what the task is.
I totally agree with that. And, as May is Mental Health Month as well, Coach, I mean, do you have any advice for, I guess, players or coaches or also students, even parents going through mental hardships and, mental struggles in general?
Yeah, you're not weak for talking about it, and you're not weak
Mm,
for feeling things.
yeah.
I think a lot of times people get caught up in, oh, I'm weak because I feel this way, or I'm a football player, so I shouldn't be feeling this. Like, no, it's okay.
Mm,
You
yeah.
know what I mean? It's okay to be upset. Like it's fine. It's a human emotion. Animals can be upset. You
Mm,
know what I mean? So why are we suppressing it? You know when your dog is upset, you know when any animal is upset, they show it. So
mm,
why are we conditioned not to show that? You know what I mean? So
yeah.
to just show it, show emotion.
Mm,
I think people will respect you more when you show emotion. You know what I mean? Like
for sure.
it's okay to ask for help. You know what I mean? Like
Mm,
no matter what mental battle you're going through, no matter what struggle that you're going through, it's always the light at the end of the tunnel. It may not seem like it right then at the moment, but it's always something that's, good can come out of it. You know what I mean? Like
definitely.
2025 has not been like the best year for me. Like just being
Mm,
like all the way transparent.
yeah.
No longer was coaching at Camden Catholic.
Mm,
On a personal level, my wife had a miscarriage.
mm,
And then I didn't get a job, the coaching job that I wanted
yeah.
originally. So
Mm,
it's like, easy to just be like, this is terrible. You know what I mean?
mm,
Like I could
yeah.
easily just be like, you know what, this sucks. I don't want to do this anymore, which I was almost on the verge of doing. Just
Yeah.
saying I want to, I like take the year off. I might as well just like, get everything kind of together. But,
Mm,
upon talking it out, talking with my circles and things like that,
yeah.
like they rejuvenated me in a sense. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
everyone rejuvenated me in a sense. So it's just been,
Of course.
kind of like a blessing. So that I would literally tell anybody, if you're ever going through something, don't go through it alone. There's no point to suffer in silence. Like talk to as many people as you possibly can, because you never know. Somebody might be dealing with the same thing you're dealing with, and you might be saving that person. That might
Exactly.
be
You
worth
never,
helping a
yeah,
second.
exactly. You never know what the shoes somebody are in. And coach, I thank you for sharing that. That was amazing. Yeah, just don't feel afraid to reach out, people. Don't be afraid to talk to the ones that you love and the people that you care about. Because it's just all a collective thing. We're all in this together. You're not alone, just like Coach said. And Coach, thank you for joining us on this. If there's anything else that you want to get into as well, anything that we didn't touch on, let me know. Um, but thank you for joining us. This
No
was an
problem.
amazing talk. Um, if people want to reach you, how can they find you?
So I'm on Instagram at Coach Gill, Gill 26, and I'm on Twitter at HFC, so Head Football Coach Gilliam, Gilliam on Twitter. So yeah, if you guys want to find me on both, those are the spots you guys can find me. Again, thank you again for having me. I would love to come
No
back
problem.
anytime, talk ball, whenever.
For
I'm
sure.
around. You got my information, so let's keep in
We'll do,
contact, okay?
Coach.